Empire. Welcome to another episode of College Park. My name is Kevin McClinton, and I'm joined with my co-host Darren McClinton, who happens also to be my brother. And got a lot to talk about today, D. Got a lot of Maryland stuff to talk about today.
What's up, man? How you?
Hey, I'm doing okay, man. It's a little cold outside, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, man. Let's get right into it. We have, we talked a little bit about Maryland, about their, two games this past week. And
big week for the Terps.
Big week for the Terps. Big week for the Terps, and also looking forward as far as what we see. And we're also we're very fortunate and lucky to have on Chris Knoche. Remember, former coach of American, who also happens to be the color analyst for the University of Maryland, who alongside with Johnny Holiday. So we're looking forward to talking to Chris a little bit about his insight and what he sees with Maryland so far, and then also moving forward. So we got a lot to get into today, but let's talk about these Terps, man. Let's talk about what this past week has meant for them and what we see moving forward.
Well, look, I don't know whether to call these guys the cardiac kids or tragic magic or what, man, but they messing with my blood pressure. I'll tell you that. You know, Uncle Shoulders used to always tell us sometimes you have a little drink for the feeling, and sometimes it's for the nerves,
right.
man. These guys, I'm sipping for the nerves. You know, it's. But a win is a win, though. They're getting the W's. With the parity that's going on, you can start last week in around 20, and now you're in your top 10. It's keep getting the W's, because in the Big Ten, it's very hard to come by on the road. They're taking care of home. I'm thinking they're the hardest place to play in the country right now. Terp Nation is showing up. The crowd is crazy. You know what I mean? And you can't come in College Park and get a win. You just can't.
And it's always been like that. It's been like that when I was at Maryland. And it's just the fans are just so into it. They're right on top of you. And they
awesome.
have a lot of, they're really, really good fans. They're very loyal fans. And they like good basketball. And that's what we've seen so far from them at home. So we just got to keep it up. We got to just make sure we take care of home court advantage. And hopefully, like we've been doing, especially the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to steal games on the road. And that's what we've done. And that's a sign of a good basketball team. I think they're starting to come into their own a little bit. I think they're starting to really kind of show what they're going to be. Not the prettiest basketball in the world, right. I will say that. Still struggle a little bit on the offensive end, but defensively they're really showing up every single night. And that's how you win games. And that's how you go far in the tournament.
I'll tell you who else is showing up, man. And they just got rewarded the Wooden Award, which is a list of the top players in the country.
Uh-huh.
So Stick Smith and Anthony Cowan,
right?
The inside-outside punch, the combination that the Terps have, just got recognized as the top 20, final 20 in that list.
Nice.
Now, Cowan's not new to this list. At the beginning of the season, he was in the top 50, and then mid-season they cut it down to 25, and now they've cut it to 20. So he's been playing stellar all year long. Sticks has been really lights out lately, and he's jumped into that conversation, and that's really, really good for the sophomore.
I think what you can say is right now Sticks might be the best player in the conference. If he's not the best player in the conference, he's probably in the top 2 or 3 with Garza and maybe even Anthony. And then you throw in, you got Cassius Winston, but I think right now with the way they're both playing, that gives Maryland a lot of confidence. It should give their fans a lot of confidence as far as how far they can go, because, Sticks is a walking double-double. I mean, let's just be real about it. He is.
Yeah.
And Anthony's playing like the senior point guard. He's playing like the leader. He's done, I think, a tremendous job of really kind of bringing the team together. And, he's showing his leadership, which is one of the things I know people questioned about him was his leadership qualities and some of the intangibles that are needed to be a good point guard. I think he's starting to show that, and he's showing some moxie, and he's showing a lot of grit, and he's showing a lot of fight. So if he can continue that with Sticks playing the way he's playing, Wiggins has got to continue to do what he's doing. I think he shot 5 for 18 against Iowa, but I like the fact that he shot the ball.
Oh, 18,
you know what I mean?
18 looks.
18 looks is fine. I can live with that.
I'll take that in a win.
Yeah, I will too.
But I'll tell you what, Ant he's in the top 5 in scoring. and an assist. Sticks he's fourth in the Big Ten with 10 rebounds a game.
Right.
He's third in the Big Ten with 2.5 blocks per game.
Right.
You know, these guys, big-time teams, big-time players step up,
right.
especially in big-time moments. And we're getting to crunch time, you know, in the stretch run of this conference.
Right.
So now is the time for these guys to really, really show what they're about. And I can't find Ayala. Can you find?
I can't find. I was looking for him. I couldn't find him.
Oh my goodness!
I couldn't find him. He's got to show up sometime. I mean, we got to put out an APB, but hopefully somebody will find him because they're going to need him down the stretch. They're really going to need him come March.
They are.
You know, I was talking earlier to somebody about Maryland, and they were saying the same thing about how they're just so frustrating to watch because their offense isn't quite there.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Good teams win on defense, and that's really what Maryland is right now. I think we can't keep waiting on the offense. It is what it is. Now we have to focus on the defense and really just make sure that that's what comes every single night. And if they can continue to do that, they have a chance to win. It's hard to lose when nobody scores on you, and that's really what we're looking at.
I'll tell you some stats that attest to what you're saying. Right now, they're shooting 31% as a team. It's at the bottom of the league.
Yeah.
Right, 48%. That's from three. 31% from three. 48% from two, which is still a little bit on the bottom half. But
is that in conference? That's out of conference, or is that total?
This is total.
Because I bet their in conference percentage is lower than that. But
where they're at the top of the league is in rebounding. All right, at 39.6. They're third in the league in blocks per game. Large part of that to Sticks and Chol when he gets in the game.
Yep.
And they commit 12.5 fouls per game, which is the least amount in the league.
Okay.
Right? So they're 11th in steals, but one thing about them is their steal to turnover ratio and their steal to foul ratio is tops in the league.
There you go.
So some of
stats.
You have to really look into it and peel the layers back to see why Terps is so pleased with the way they're playing defensively. You know what I mean? You may look at the product from the outside and say, okay, these guys can't throw it in the ocean.
Sure.
They're not getting enough steals because they're 11th in steals.
Right.
But the way they're taking care of the basketball, their steals to turnovers.
Right.
And you know how that is. It dictates the flow of the game. It dictates the tempo of the game. It dictates the way teams get nervous when they have to make every possession count, opposing teams. So,
and it sounds like you really have to – Maryland's not going to give you anything. You have to earn it.
Exactly.
And that's really where it comes down to. So I'll be interested to talk to Chris Knoche about this and see what he thinks because, he's right on top of it. So he gets a chance to see what's going on throughout the game and what and he's obviously been around basketball a long time. So I'll be interested to find out what he thinks and get his opinion on Maryland now and moving forward and what he sees.
Hello.
Coach.
Yo.
What's going on, brother? This is Kevin
How
McClinton.
you doing, man?
How you doing?
Yep. Good. All good.
Good.
Coach, this is Darren McClinton here too, man. What's going on, man?
Darren, good seeing you last week, man.
How are you? Everything good?
Everything's good. Thank you very much. Just getting ready to go on with Coach Williams here momentarily and see if we can make some sense of things.
There you go. Well, we wanted to touch base with you, Coach, about where you see Maryland right now. Darren and I were talking about it here a few minutes ago, and I've said and Darren said that they're really hanging their hat on the defensive end. Offense is a little bit inconsistent, but right now, I mean, if you're a good defensive team, you have a chance to go a long way. What do you think, and what are your thoughts on the way Maryland's playing so far?
I think you guys are pretty much spot on. Defense has been there pretty much invariably every night for them. It's the sole reason why they were still in the game at halftime against Rutgers last night. And it's kept them in some games when the offense has struggled. And the offense has come and gone a little bit, and it's sort of tied to their ability or lack thereof sometimes to shoot the basketball. But when you look around at the top tier of Division I schools, I mean, it seems like everybody's got something that they're struggling with, or they wish they could fix.
Right.
So the Terps are no different. At the end of the day, right now, 18-4, 8-3, in what is clearly the best conference in Division I hoops, and you got 9 games left. They put themselves in a position to be a major player here down the stretch. I don't know that you could ask for a whole lot more here, looking at the first week of February to be, looking at the stretch of your Big Ten season with a chance to win it.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. Now, let me ask you this, and I know we've been talking about Maryland playing lights-out defense, but I was wondering whether Chol Mario was injured, and I talked with Coach Brady, and he said, no, he's healthy. Right now the game's a little too fast for him, and Turge has to trust him a little bit more. I think he's going to be important down the stretch when the games slow down, especially in the Big Ten tournament, and you're going to need some of that half-court defense, because his presence in there alone, the way he either blocks shots or alters shots, is going to be really, really key. What do you think? You figure like Chol will be an important, piece down the stretch?
See, I think they need the minutes as much as anything else. The presence is great, but you can't expect to get through a 3-game run in the tournament and play Jalen Smith 39 minutes each game. I don't think that's going to happen for you. So you sort of have to force yourself to give him some minutes. It's not easy because he clearly, Darren, he looks, for anybody who watches him play or even watches him practice, you see that there's certain things he gives you that nobody else gives you, but he looks like a guy to me who hasn't played in 2.5 years, which effectively is what he is. And so now you put Turge in kind of a tough situation, and the staff in a tough situation is do you give him what is effectively kind of on-the-job training, where you're trying to knock the rust off in some of these really important games, and I get why Turge is kind of reluctant to do that. Yet, sometimes you think the long-term benefits of playing him, far outweigh the short-term pain. And I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
He's a unicorn. I watch him work out, do individual workouts, and there aren't a whole lot of guys like this.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Coach. There's been so much put into this Maryland season as far as expectations and, the team that was that we're fielding this year. What do you think is a successful season for Maryland? Big Ten regular season, Big Ten champions, Big Ten tournament champions. What do you think is a successful season for them?
Kevin, I think that's a great question, and I think it's one of those things that when all is said and done, we'll know it when we see it. Yeah. I think we'll know if it was a successful season. I don't know that, I'd be reluctant to say they got to be Final 8 right now.
Right.
The hard part about the NCAA tournament, you guys are both, high-level basketball players. It's not a best of 7. It's not even the best of 3. It's one game, and you could be out. And so there's some things that happen in the tournament you can never plan on or even explain afterwards. So I'd be a little reluctant to sort of define the parameters of what makes for success.
Yeah.
You know what? I've been at it long enough. I went to college basketball as a player, and I'm this old. I went to college basketball player in 1976. And one of the things that I've sort of focused in on over the years is to enjoy it while you got it.
Yeah.
And they're 18-4. They have an enormous game Friday night against a really good Illinois team. And I really enjoy the opportunity to sit there and get paid to do it. It's a great thrill, and they're good enough and they're playing well enough. I like just to keep the ride going.
There you go. We heard Lynn Elmore made a comment about the Big Ten champion possibly going in as a number 4 seed. I don't know how realistic that is, considering, as you well pointed out, that the Big Ten might be the best conference in the country, or one of them at least, with so many teams in the top 20, 25, and doing really well. So, what do you think about that number 4 seed for the Big Ten champion? Does that sound a little bit underranked?
I know what his point is. His point is that every team has taken turns beating each other. And so nobody's going to go in there with a ridiculous record where they're 18-2 in the league, and honestly, you look at where the standings are right now, Kevin, and where teams are headed. Terps are 8-3, Illinois is 8-3. It might be that 14-6 gets you the first place in the regular season, and that's not exactly a gaudy record,
right.
Going into the tournament. To his point, I don't think the champion will be a 4 seed. I think more likely would be a 3 seed. But then, gosh, what happens if you go to Indianapolis where the tournament is and you got all these teams, the top tier is going in as, the Terps and Illinois and Michigan State, maybe Iowa, who's damn good.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, Ohio State, or somebody catches fire, somebody catches lightning in 3 days. Now all of a sudden, Len is right, because the Michigan States, the Marylands, Illinois of the world, they're not going to be threes.
Right.
That's a good point.
So there's a lot going on here. Even though we're in February, there's 9 games left in the regular season, and then you have the whole drama of Indianapolis and every conference tournament out there, and everything is interrelated and everything affects everything else. So we'll see, man. It's a great time of the year.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because the Big Ten is also the conference of home court advantage. The only one team, Penn State, has a winning record on the road in conference, and everybody else has a losing record.
Yeah.
And Darren, go figure that one out. I mean, in the ACC this year, 53% of the games in league play have been won by the road team.
Wow.
So it makes no sense. I mean, I'm not, and this is the kind of year. I mean, I tell you what kind of year it is. Rutgers is headed to their first 20-win season since 1983. And conversely, North Carolina is nowhere to be seen in anybody's mock tournament, mock brackets. So what the hell is going on here? I mean, it's wild nuts.
I want to ask you this last question, Coach. I know you got to go. I know you got something. You got another show tonight. So I wanted to keep this brief. I was asked that question as far as why is there so much inconsistency and parity, I guess is the better word, in college basketball. And I kind of related it to, you have a lot of young players playing big minutes, and, big-time players were in high school last year, so you don't really get the consistency from some of these players as when we were playing. There was more senior-laden teams and junior-laden teams. Where do you think that is? Why do you think there is so much parity in college basketball?
I think that's a lot of it. I think that, too, you look at some of the departures over the last couple of years. There have been some great one-and-done guys that have been lost to college hoops. And then also the teams that aren't top-tier teams that lose guys on an annual basis, those teams benefit from the continuity that they have, where guys stick around and play together for 2, 3, 4 years. And so what you have there is it means the middle is going to meet the top.
Yeah.
And the top, conversely, is going to meet the middle. And now you have this great kind of Middle Earth of college basketball. And it makes for, the tournament's going to be hysterical. I mean, in terms of every pool is going to be won by the secretaries. I mean, you had no idea what's going to happen when the tournament rolls around in March.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, listen, Coach, I know you got to go. I appreciate you spending a little time with us and talking Maryland basketball, and we'll be touching base with you later on in the season.
Juice, did you see the halftime show, man?
Yeah, I couldn't miss it.
Goodness gracious. But listen, I'm just going to put it out there like this.
Please put it out there.
The two best athletes in that stadium,
Shakira and J-Lo.
50-year-old J-Lo and 43-year-old Shakira. I mean, incredible or what?
Yeah, that was
Forget the commercials. I know everybody's hung up on the commercial. Forget the commercials.
I've been looking for that halftime show ever since I found that J-Lo and Shakira were going to be on it. When they first announced it, I was looking forward to it because I wanted to see, when you have two alpha females,
yes,
they're alpha females, You know what I mean? And they have to share the
They're
stage together.
awesome alpha females.
Yes, they are. Yes, they
Now,
are.
listen, I've got my little 5th grade team, right? And there's this little kid on the team named Jonah. He's the swaggiest point guard you ever want to see.
Right. Okay.
5th grade.
Right.
Every time we got our own little handshake when he comes in the gym,
Right.
right? So he comes in the gym. Every time he comes, he's like, "Coach, what's up, man?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Kimba's the GOAT." He loves Kimba Walker, right?
Come on,
He
Jonah.
came in and said, "What's up, Coach? Shakira's the GOAT." 5th grade.
Come on, Jonah.
Jonah so what I'm saying
Jonah
is
ain't got no homework to do. What's Jonah looking at?
everybody could appreciate what I was appreciating on Sunday.
Let me ask you this, because I was going back and forth with this because Shakira obviously came on first, and then they gotta let J-Lo have it. You know what I mean? I mean she's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that they were able to kind of do it together. You know what I mean? It was like, but whose part was better? Who?
Shakira.
Shakira, really?
Yes.
No, sir. J-Lo's
listen,
was better. Come on, Darren.
takes the cake.
How?
Takes the cake. What else you want me to say? Zoomed into the camera, gave us what we want.
You ain't like the poll for
I
J-Lo?
love the pole.
Come on, man.
But the hips don't lie, man. Shakira's hips don't lie.
So you going Shakira? So Shakira's was better.
Huh.
I'd be interested.
Phenomenal.
If you did a poll on that.
Phenomenal with a small lead over awesome. Shakira was phenomenal. J-Lo was
J-Lo's
awesome.
50. She don't even look 50.
Oh my goodness. You can't go wrong though. You can't go wrong.
It's six
It
half
made
dozen.
me
It's
forget.
6 half dozen.
It made me forget about the 21-0 run that KC closed the game in.
I don't even think anybody paid attention to it after halftime.
No, Mahomes is
He's
legit.
awesome. He's the best.
He's
He's the
legit.
best player in the league right now.
But I tell you what though, if it wasn't, there was a holding call that they missed on that
Third and 15? Yeah.
That would have changed the whole complexity of the game, and it was
Bosa got grabbed.
San Fran was in the middle of a defensive stance that was for the ages.
Yeah, it
like they
was,
were
yeah.
holding that
Yeah,
offense,
yeah.
that high power offense to
Yeah.
10 points,
Yeah.
2 turnovers. You know,
It was amazing. It was amazing.
yeah.
And it's funny, and we're going to get back into Maryland here in a second, but it's funny is that arguably the two coordinators of the two most dominant sides of the ball, San Francisco's defensive coordinator and Kansas City's offensive coordinator, neither one of them got a job.
I know.
Neither one of them got a job. That amazes me that these two guys that put together these two, the offense and the defense that they put together, respectively, they can't get a job. It's just unbelievable. That's another story for another day. But
I'm lobbying for Bieniemy.
I am too. I thought he did a great job. But
Well, on Friday, Maryland's going to run into somebody that could easily play in the Super Bowl in Kofi Cockburn.
yes,
He's a mammoth of a
Yes.
man in there. You know,
That's
Stick's got his work cut out for
yeah.
him.
That's going to be a tough game because Maryland escaped the last time they played.
Yeah, they
when
did.
Anthony hit that shot, and they're on the road. They're going down to Champaign. It's going to be a tough game. But right now, Maryland's playing with so much confidence. I mean, they've won, 5 straight, 6 straight, or whatever it is. They're playing with so much confidence. I think they've got swag about them. I think they know now they can win on the road, which is something that had been they haven't been able to do. So we'll see. Illinois is a good team where they ranked
They're both in the
20th
top.
in the country. Yeah, so
they're both
it's gonna be a
leading.
great game.
This is for first place.
This is for first place. It
You know,
is.
let's see how Maryland responds to beating another top-tier Big Ten team in Rutgers, because they got to go do it again, and now on the road where it hasn't been kind to them.
You know what though, and this after this Illinois game, the schedule is Nebraska. Then they go to Michigan State, Northwestern, at Ohio State, at Minnesota. Michigan State at home, at Rutgers, and then Michigan. Those Michigan State games are going to be the test. I'll just say that because Michigan State has beaten up on us for the last couple of years. We just don't match up well with Michigan State. So we get this game against Illinois, hopefully, and then we play Nebraska, and then we go right into that Michigan State team, and we'll see what happens. You know, but that might be that game right there. That right there might be for the regular season championship. To be honest with
Hey,
you,
man.
at least I see it.
Is it pronounced Illinois or Illinois?
Depends on where you're from. Depends on who you're talking to. I say Illinois.
I noticed that you keep calling it Illinois, and I call it Illinois.
But see, that's the same thing with Maryland. Some people say Maryland, and some people say Maryland.
Well, I guess what? It's going to be noisy in Champaign. It is.
It's going to be noisy in Champaign, so let's just keep it in Champaign then.
There we go.
All right. This has been fun.
Oh, man, it's always good chopping it up with you, man.
Absolutely. This is fun. This is looking forward to every week coming back and talking on College Park. And
this Maryland team will always give us something to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't wait for the next episode.